Hello again. Welcome to Cost of Managerial, Principles of Managerial Accounting. You folks, are there a few of you who are going to take Cost of Managerial Accounting? A few of you who are accounting majors? A few? Awesome. So you'll get to see this again. You folks are very wise in being here because it'll be helpful. You have a competitive advantage come Cost and Managerial Accounting time. So we are today going to continue what we learned about last class period, which was what? Christine, what did we talk about last class period? Yes, but I mean, what was the topic? What was the topic? It's okay. It's not a test, so you can look in your notes. That was the first question we answered. What's at the top of the page? What's it say at the top of the page? Let's take notes. ... Yeah, you could just read the word that's there. Break even. Awesome. And then what was in parentheses behind break even? The CVP, right? The letter CVP. We'll let somebody else answer that question. Mara, what does CVP stand for? Cost, volume, profit, as in cost, volume, profit analysis. And they mean the same thing. So break even. Oh. Class, at break even net income is? 0. That wasn't bad for kind of no warning. We'll get to do it again. So at break even net income is 0. So there's that term we learned about last class period. What else did we talk about? We learned how to calculate break-even, did we not? We talked about variable costs and fixed costs. What's the variable costing income statement format? Jessica Kestis. What's the variable costing income statement format? It would have been somewhere in those notes fairly early on in there. Can anybody help her? What page should she be looking on? Page 35? Yes. Revenue minus variable costs equals contribution margin minus fixed costs equals operating income. Jessica, do you see that? Now that we have spoken it, it's really easy to find. Variable cost, let's see, variable cost ratio should also be on that page. Tyler Keel.
Variable cost over revenue.
And that's how we calculate it in total. How would we calculate it on a per unit basis?
Variable cost per unit over selling price.
Precisely correct. Aaron Laughlin is not here. Is that correct? Not. Oh, you are here. Help. So, I'm sorry. You've already talked about this. So you're going to Andrew Maddox. What's the contribution margin ratio? Okay, contribution margin over revenue for total, and how about on a per unit basis? Yes, contribution margin per unit over selling price per unit. And so for the variable cost ratio is variable costs over sales in total, or variable cost per unit over selling price per unit on a per unit basis. For the contribution margin ratio, contribution margin over sales or revenue for in total, or contribution margin per unit divided by selling price per unit on a per unit basis. What do those two ratios always add up to, Aaron McGowan? Aaron McGowan, how are you? No. Anybody know? You know. 100% or 1. They always add up to 100% or 1, okay? So that's a good thing to remember. Look, turn to the page CVP Intuition, if you would, please. CVP Intuition. It should have a box around it. There, page 36. Oh, I had you put stars. Awesome. Tell me just the regular break-even in units formula, Mr. Oswald.
Is it variable cost plus their total revenue equals variable cost plus fixed cost plus selling price?
No, the one down at the bottom, kind of the bottom or the next page. Break-even in units. It's labeled break-even in units.
Yeah, they're fixed cost plus selling equity over
Close. What's that O? That's an OI, not an OE.
Owner's income, right?
No. Second word's wrong. The second word's right.
Yeah.
First word's wrong.
What is it? Operating income.
Operating income. So say the whole thing again with the right O.
Cost plus operating income over contribution margin
Per unit, singular. Yes. So that is, so break even in units equals fixed cost plus operating income divided by contribution margin per unit. Correct? Okay. Now, see, this is where Q class break-even net income is 0. And why is that important there? Because the formula we just had so adeptly and precisely and correctly read for us includes operating income as a component, right? But at break-even, operating income or net income is 0. And so we can use that formula for two purposes. We can use it when we're trying to calculate true break-even, but we can also use it when we are trying to calculate, how many units do we need to sell to make a profit of, you name the number, okay? So we can use it for two purposes, which is why it's so helpful to know what's true at break-even. And Cody just walked in. Josh Pine, where's Josh? That's Josh, so I was looking in the right spot, but you didn't react. Why? Why would you hope that? Why would you hope that? What's break-even in dollars formula?
Hold on 1 second, let me find that.
You were not already on the page?
Oh, that's on that same page?
Yes. It should be right below it.
Label it, I guess.
BE in parentheses dollars. You got that?
Oh, yeah, I got that. I'm
Awesome.
got that now.
Awesome.
Fixed cost plus operating income over, yeah, I've got that word. But
CMR.
Yeah, CMR, or CMR.
And-
Something ratio.
Oh,
Margin ratio.
contribution margin rate. Yeah, so you can help out with the first, because the first two words are the same. Yours was contribution margin per unit. Yours was contribution margin ratio. Right. How awesome. Jim Presley is not here. John Rampone. How do we calculate the contribution margin ratio?
You have the fixed cost plus operating income over the selling price per unit minus the variable cost per unit. No?
I don't think so.
Don't think so.
Because I'm not right sure what that was. I'm sure it was, you're calculating a number, absolutely. I'm not real sure what it was though. Where can you find the contribution margin ratio calculation? On the previous page? Oh, I had it on the board. It's on the page with the box on it. Contribution margin ratio. Oh, what page? 35. Page 35, contribution. In fact, we've already talked about this today. This is a review of today's review.